Hello, sir. This is Nehal Shukla from Team Adgully, and welcome to our session on trending now.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for having me here on Adgully.
Sir, I would like to ask you what are the trends that you expect to dominate in this sector?
In the advertising marketing sector.
Yes, in the
Yeah,
advertising marketing sector.
so I think a couple of things that's happened in the last couple of years during the pandemic, of course, is the acceleration of content consumption on OTT and on digital platforms has accelerated because staying at home, normally it's still a one TV household in India. So what's happened is the consumption of content has increased on devices because everyone wants to consume what they want to consume, except maybe sporting events, and hence it's increased leaps and bounds. And I don't think that's going to go back to normal, even if we have some sort of normalcy going back. So the consequence of that is that you will see a lot more, a lot more money going towards digital video, especially. And I think a big marker of that will be when the new IPL rights will come out. Later in the year for the next 5 years, you will see a substantial jump in the bidding for the digital rights versus a not so substantial jump in television rights. This is in hand with also the spends that are going up. I think digital is going to grow at back to again 30% plus in terms of growth in spends, while traditional is growing, and especially television is growing, but not at the same pace. So I think what's going to happen is that 2022 is going to be that point where digital starts becoming as important, if not more important, than television. So that's, I think, number one. Number two is, again, in that same space, a lot more consolidation of OTT players is going to happen. There are so many OTT players. I think the next 2 years is going to see a lot more consolidation on the OTT platforms, as well as a lot more players coming up with ad funded, not just subscription based. So the Amazons of the world and all will start coming up with ad funded campaigns as well. So when they start bidding for sporting events, for example, they will reach out to advertisers to start kind of sponsoring those. So I think that's another important point, where the whole angle of subscription versus ad funded revenues is going to happen. More again, coming back to more traditional, I think television will grow, and the government's plan and the whole idea of what is television and what is digital is going to converge again, as I said. And the government's plan on pushing more and more digitization and more digitization into the heartland of India means that consumption of video will increase over a point of time. So again, when we are planning on spends on marketing, we are now going to do planning on video and not necessarily saying that, okay, this is television and this is digital video consumption. So I think those are a few things. Voice, of course, is going to be another growth. I think voice will keep on growing. And the last couple of years, I've been a big proponent of voice, and I keep on saying that voice as a platform, audio as a platform is going to grow. So from a perspective of voice, I think because voice is breaks the whole language barrier, breaks the whole it's in different formats, and it doesn't require so much bandwidth. I think voice is really going to start coming of age in 2022, and you will see a lot more advertisers taking advantage of voice as a platform. And finally, e-commerce and social commerce. These are the two things. So a lot of e-commerce will be integrated with social, and a lot more social commerce is going to happen. So if you are going to an Instagram and if you are going to all of these things, you will now start seeing a lot more of commerce happening on the Insta stories and on images that are being shared through influencers, etc. So I think social commerce is another very big thing that's going to happen. So these are a few key trends. And of course, the big buzzword that everyone's talking about is metaverse. Of course, that's something that the entire world is talking about. It will take some time, but I think it's important to get into it now, because a metaverse is a parallel, for lack of better words, it's a parallel universe. It's a parallel living that you have. So how do brands establish themselves on this parallel universe, taking advantage of the entire infrastructure out there? And first movers always will get a big fillip. So I think it's time to experiment with the metaverse as well. So I think these are a few important things beyond what we always used to say. Vernacular video are always going to become big, which we've always been saying for the past 2 years. That trend doesn't change. Vernacular and video and voice are always going to be something big.
And what are the challenges and the new opportunities that you see emerging in the advertising and marketing advertising and marketing field ahead?
See, the challenges really is how do we start, when I'm talking about video and when we're talking about, cross television and digital advertising, the challenge really arises as to how do I measure these. Measurement metric is extremely crucial to understand what advertising is working where. So there is a set metric on television. There are metrics on digital as well. But now that digital has become so big, it's important to have an understanding of how your entire ecosystem works from a mixed marketing modeling perspective. So I think that's something which is going to be very critical as we go forward. Is one view of who your consumer is and how you are reaching out to that consumer through video, especially. So I think that's one challenge that I see. The other challenge, and not a challenge, but an opportunity that I, really look forward to, and especially as Wonderman Thompson, is that the opening up of the economy, I think, and hopefully everything going back to a little bit of normalcy, I think will give a lot of fillip to us, and I think it was a decent budget as well that was presented. So I think there is a good opportunity for us. But at the other end of the spectrum, yes, there are not many relaxations in budgets, not much money in the consumer's hands. So yes, so there are pros and cons that have happened. But I think that's one thing that for the industry, one is the digitization. So digital will always grow. The other side, we are seeing offshoots of some inflation creeping in and some sort of a, so it will be a balancing, it will be a tricky balance in 2022. But I think, the economy bouncing back will outweigh all the other things that are there. So I see all opportunities happening in this year.
So, sir, how has the year 2021 been for Wonderman Thompson, and what are the things that you see that will change in 2022, and how strong the recovery, if we say, or the changes that will happen in 2022 as compared to the last 2 years?
Yeah, so 2021 was about, and this was for the entire industry. Yes, everyone recovered to an extent, but challenges still were there. I think it was a phenomenal job by the team to make sure that the clients, and by the clients, where we made sure that we held on and improved. We won a lot of businesses in 2021. We did decent amount of work. We did good business, and I think we improved a lot in terms of revenue as well in 2021. But I think 2022 is going to be a landmark year for us in terms of growth from a new business perspective and growing in terms of revenues. But more importantly, also getting to where the vision for Wonderman Thompson really is that we've always been this amazing brand experience agency for 90 years, for 9 decades almost. Now is the evolution of Wonderman Thompson in terms of saying, okay, this is something which we always be good at, and we will always be good at. Creativity is something which we'll always be good at. But how are we marrying that and kind of taking that to the next level, where we are talking about the entire customer journey powered by technology and commerce? I think that is where we see a substantial growth happening for us. And we're already on the way, and powered by a lot of digital, of course, that is going to drive. So in 2022, you will see a lot more integration across the Wonderman Thompson group, the brands that we have, the businesses that we have, a lot more enablement through digital technology and commerce. I think that's what's going to drive, and it's going to be a substantial growth over 2021.
Are there any key announcements that you would like to share about that?
I will talk about it, but the absolute announcement will happen maybe later in the month. We will be launching something in the health domain. We feel that is something which and something very unique, because we have a very unique product which marries digital technology and creativity in one place to come up with a very very unique product for the health category, and that's something which I think is which will we will announce by the end of this month. So that I think is an announcement that you can take. And of course, as I said, a lot more. A lot more push on technology and commerce, which is something that you will get to see maybe in the next 3 to 6 months' time. So I think these are the two main things that you should watch out for from Wonderman Thompson.
Okay, sir, that was all with my questions. Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.